Vale. Buying food that is locally grown from your farmer's market or local grocer is a great way to minimize your environmental impact. But growing your own food takes it to the next level. The easiest way to imagine how growing your own food reduces your carbon footprint and benefits the planet is to think of food production and distribution in terms of an empty jar. The fuller the jar is, the greater the environmental impact and the more components involved in producing your food and bringing your food to your plate. When you take into account the typical energy cost of transporting food to your local grocer, it is estimated that an average distance of 1,500 miles is traveled before the food is consumed. This large-scale, long-distance transportation of food relies heavily on the energy from burning fossil fuels. In fact, it is estimated that we currently put nearly 10 kilocalories of fossil fuel energy into your food system for every 1 kilocalorie of energy we get as food. Why is this bad? Of the many public health and environmental risks associated with burning fossil fuels, the most serious in terms of potentially irreversible consequences is a phenomenon that we have all become familiar with: climate change. Then there's the question of pesticides and fertilizers. So we must take into account the use of pesticides and synthetic fertilizers on conventionally grown crops. Many of them are cancerogenic. If you are growing your own food, you can decide what goes or what doesn't go on your produce. Then there's the concern of monocropping, or growing only one type of crop in a large area of land. These farming practices reduce biodiversity, rely heavily on pesticides, as I said, and commercial fertilizers, involve heavily mechanized farming practices, and result in a loss of soil nutrients. Growing your own food allows you to avoid all the negative impact that come along with monoculture while protecting your health and the environment's health. As you avoid some of the negative sides to shopping for food, growing your own food can give you something that you may have not considered: exercise. Planting, weeding, watering, and caring for your plants will provide you with a workout that is meaningful. And if you have children, you can encourage them to join in too. But the best part, in my opinion, is that growing your own food yields better tasting food with a higher nutritional value. We have all tried some fruit or vegetables straight from an organic garden and remember how delicious and fresh it tasted. Additionally, growing your own food diversifies your diet and provides you healthier food, especially if you choose to grow a variety of fruits and vegetables, many varieties of fruit and vegetables. Then you will only have seasonal fruit and vegetables, but that is why they are so tasty. The last but quite important reason for some is growing your own food can shrink your grocery bills. If you cannot afford to buy organic food, or you don't want to put your money towards industries who rely on practices that pollute and harm the environment and human health. Now, I know that I could never grow all the food I make use of. I still buy apples, potatoes, or other vegetables I do not grow, especially in winter. But you can also learn to grow plants over the summer and then make preserves. A very easy one is the tomato preserves, even though it is better to make it outside, or you might have to clean your kitchen very carefully after. And I'm not going to give advice on the kind of plants that you could grow, because I reckon that we live in different places of the earth. But I've been very successful with courgettes. And apart from eating the vegetables, you can also fry the flowers of courgette. And also I've been very successful with raspberries. I have a very big bush and it multiplies. So it gets bigger and bigger every year. But for that, you might need a piece of garden. While there are other species, such as tomatoes or strawberries, that can perfectly grow in a flower pot. So I suggest you start with something easy and tasty. And happy gardening.